Ward about the Sotheby News Day Centre. Councillor Ward is not present. Councillor Watts, would you like to reply? Okay, sorry. It's related to fire doors. Sorry, yeah. Thank you. Sorry, it's my fault. Question related to fire doors.
I can do some reviews as well if you want. Karen, thank you for your question, Mark. I understand you met with the Service Director for Housing and Property Services on the 26th of November, where you were updated on the current position regarding fire doors, and they table detailing kind of progress and numbers per ward has been provided to you, as I understand it. I hope that's got through to you safely. I mean, I want to be clear that we take our opportunities around fire safety and our residents' safety absolutely centrally to everything we're trying to do as a council. The horrific Grenfell House, Grenfell Tower disaster means there can be absolutely no room for complacency. But fundamental to everything we're trying to do is at least trying to get a better picture from government and national regulators about what actually is a safe fire door to install. So I think you will appreciate that it is important for the council to be sure that what it's doing is actually helping the situation, and therefore the real step that we need to take this area of work forward is better clarity from the government about what actually we should be doing as a council. When that clarity is provided, we will be swinging into action to do it.
Do you have a supplementary?
I do, yes. Councillor Watts, thank you very much for that answer. And I think the point is there are a lot of fire doors that are composite fire doors that have been installed that are not as fire compliant as was anticipated when they were commissioned. It's not council fault, they've been provided by contractors, but it seems that there is a problem with the actual the ability of these doors to withstand fire. So my question is just, will you commit to publish a timetable once you have the information from the government? And I do understand that you cannot determine when you're going to get that clarity about the correct fire doors and their availability, but once that information comes through from the government, will you commit to a timetable for getting all these doors fire compliant? Because there's an awful lot of them.
Councillor Watts.
Thank you very much. And Caroline, thank you, I think, for your very fair question on this. You're right to point out this isn't just an issue for Islington Council, it's an issue for every landlord in Britain. Actually, it's an issue for every landlord in Europe, given there seems actually to be only one core manufacturer of composite fire doors affecting most of Western Europe. And it turns out there are significant questions about those fire doors and what their actual fire safety value is. It is worth saying the Fire Brigade is not saying that we are following Fire Brigade advice in the current period, where they're saying if doors are fitted and they last longer than what was before, then keep them rather than doing anything else. So we are, as you would expect, I think, following Fire Brigade advice in this interim period. But yes, I can commit that when there is some better clarity provided to us as a council about what we should do to keep our residents safe, not just what we will do that, but when it's quite clear what the investment needs are and what the kind of timetable is, we will make that quite clear to members of this council and to residents.
Thank you for your brevity, Councillor Watts. We are now, where I said we were before, there is a question from Councillor Russell, which will be answered by Councillor Watts, and it's about the Sotheby News Day Centre. Councillor Watts.
Thank you very much, Caroline. Again, I don't know what it's like to be done, it's terrific. Let me start by reminding us about where we've got to on Sotheby News, which is that we have 14,000 people on our housing waiting list. We were elected and re-elected massively on a manifesto, top priority of which was to build new council housing. And we do think that Sotheby News site presents an opportunity to help families off the waiting list whose lives are currently being ruined by the housing situation they find themselves in. Clearly, we need to work closely with residents. There is a brilliant, and I genuinely brilliant, I visited it only last week, new Highbury Roundhouse building being built, not very far away from Sotheby News. There are also, this is new news, potential other opportunities on the same side as Blackstock Road for carrying continuation of some community services on that side of the road. The council is in the process of developing new plans for council housing on the Southern Use site, and the Roundhouse have announced that they are working towards a March 9, 2019 completion date for the new site. At that point, when both of these things will come into are going to happen, we will restart those conversations with residents. The thing I want to say, and I do want to be clear on this, is we're in danger of getting a bit stuck on this issue and a kind of zero-sum game and don't do. We will work with users of Sotheby News. If there are other solutions as well as just putting services in the Roundhouse, we are very open to conversations about that. Dermot, until little Sophie came along somewhat unexpectedly at 1 o'clock this morning, was committed to a further series of meetings. You know, we want to move this issue on. We want to get that housing built, but we also do want to make sure we have the conversation with residents that mean there's an offer of services that people are happy with. It may not be everything that people want, but I know Sotheby News do great work. I'm really confident that whatever happens, I'll be in a position to carry on doing that great work, both in the Roundhouse, possibly in other buildings as well, and we will welcome that conversation.
Give us another minute.
Thank you, Councillor Watts, and thank you for the commitment to keep talking with the users of Sotheby News, because I think that's the most important part of this, that the people about whom these decisions are being made are actually involved in those conversations. Now, March 2019, you say, for the Roundhouse, I gather they're still nearly short of £500,000. Have they suddenly found this money, or, you know, from what I understand, it's very unlikely that they would even be able to have services in there for March 2019. Can we, given it's Christmas, can we give the users of Sotheby News comfort that they are not going to be asked to move until at least the council has got appropriate place for these services to be happening? Because what they do at Sotheby News is so creative, caring and important in our community, and these services to prevent loneliness amongst older people and to make sure that older people have access to a hot lunch when people are really struggling to pay their bills and to keep going with things is just incredibly important to people. So they're not. Can you at least give comfort that they're not going to find themselves without any space to be if the Roundhouse isn't ready for them?
Okay, well, can I get? I mean, I visited the Roundhouse. I think. I know it's been criticised a couple of times, but I think it was a brilliant building. Actually, it's going to be fantastic when it's open. I know it's an appropriate space for some services, and if there are other appropriate spaces for some services, we will look at those as well. We actually gave the assurance you're asking me now for a year ago. I'm happy to repeat that now, that we're not going to close the Sotheby News building until we've got alternatives sorted out. I mean, you know, the aim is not to pay money to keep Sotheby News closed. The aim is to build housing there. You're right to mention about issues about people being lonely and stuck at Christmas, and obviously users of Sotheby News are very important in that, and we will have them in mind. We'll make sure that there are the right services for them. The other people, though, I think we should think about at Christmas are homeless families. I think we should think about the needs of homeless families stuck in temporary accommodation out of this borough who need an affordable council house in Islington. I think we should think about homeless families who have no hope of decent, affordable housing unless the council cracks on with the council housing programme. We were elected with 61% of the votes in May to deliver, and I think we should think about homeless families who will get rehoused on that site and who that will change their lives, and that is why we are going to listen to everyone and we're going to talk to everyone, but we are going to prioritise the building of life-changing new council housing to make sure that we can carry on giving our families the kind of start in life that they deserve, because we have to think about, because we don't just have to think about the people who use services at the moment, as important as they are. We have to think about the people who have no voice in this chamber at all, because they're spending tonight in temporary accommodation in Barnet, because that's the best the council can do. We owe them a lot better, and this administration will provide it.
So I'd now like you to move to page 33 of your agenda pack. This is item 9. This is the approval of the revised North London Waste Plan for publication, consultation and submission. Councillor Watts, come down up to you lately. Would you like to move the item?
I would very briefly, Mr. Mayor. I trust everyone who's read all 118 pages of this plan. I read that as well. And it is a very important document. It is a document we have a statutory duty as a council to pass. It also is a document with actually very few implications for the geographical space in the London Borough of Islington. The aim of this is it identifies new sites for waste disposal and other critical infrastructure to get rid of the refuse collected across several North London boroughs. It has not identified any new sites in Islington. We are already the most densely populated borough in the country, so I'm not massively surprised about that. So we have to sign it off along with the other 6 NLWA councils, and so I'm proposing to the council this evening that we do that.
Thank you, Councillor Watts. Councillor Burgess?
I second this formally, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Would any other councillors? Councillor Russell?
Yes, it's my job to say something. I'll be very brief. Obviously, the development consent order has been issued, so this ship has sailed. The incinerator is happening. But we do need to think about the risks of burning our waste and of mitigating those risks. Now, we've got this great, big, expanded new incinerator that has bigger capacity than the old incinerator. It's cleaner in the way that it burns. But I don't think that we should be lulled into a full sense of relaxation or enjoyment about it just because it's creating energy from waste. Because what an incinerator does is it very happily burns stuff that could be recycled or that could be anaerobically digested or composted. So there is no composting or anaerobic digestion on the new site. I think that should be a priority, that we try and make sure that that happens so that we are not burning food waste that could easily be used and could create compost for food growing and other things like that. We also need to keep an eye on our own waste streams, because certainly when the Belvedere incinerator came on stream in southeast London, the rate of recycling went down as the rate of burning stuff went up. And in light of Councillor Watt's commitment to Natasha Cox's questions earlier when he was saying that climate change is important, it is important that we also follow the work of Rowena Champion, who did a great report for the Environment and Regen Scrutiny, and that we take our recycling and our commitment to reducing the amount of waste that either goes to landfill or to be burned as far as we possibly can. And finally, our neighbours with children and older people with respiratory problems in those boroughs that are not as dense as Islington, but are going to be much closer to the incinerator and will be breathing the PM2.5 particles that come out of the incinerator, they will thank us if we take our duty seriously to reduce the waste that comes from Islington and make sure that we take that seriously. And I hope that my fellow councillors will help to scrutinise the papers that come through the Environment and Regen Committee over the coming months and years to make sure that we are doing our very best on recycling and reducing the waste that gets burned. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. Councillor Watts, would you like to comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I spent in the happy period just before I became leader of this council lovely 7 months on the North London Waste Authority. One of the things I take actually genuine pride in from the small time is following on the work of Paul and Richard Greening in putting under real scrutiny the crackpot 30-year-long £3.2 billion PFI programme, and I took some pride in being able to kill that and actually coming up with the plan that we have here. It did include some of the kind of clever stuff that Caroline you're talking about, and I do, I know Andy already worked hard on the NLWA board and will carry on doing that. But that plan, had it gone ahead, would be costing this council £4 million more each year. That's £4 million more of cuts each year, and it was bitterly opposed by local residents. But it's the kind of stuff as an alternative to the current plan. So I agree. This is a practical plan. It gets the job done. There are ways I'm sure it can be improved, but nothing in here rules that out. It's much more about the spatial strategy than it is actually what we do with the waste money once it goes onto the sites that are being allocated. However, I do think what's critical is we come up with a plan that actually works and is affordable for this council. However, because we need to protect public services, however, it is also important that we come with something that has got higher environmental standards. It is worth saying the incinerator for this plan leads us to demolish in due course. It's one of the dirtiest in Europe. It's got a derogation from the EU air quality rules, which it doesn't come anywhere near meeting and never will. And so having a legal incinerator is a massive step forward that we shouldn't underestimate.
Thank you very much, Councillor Watts. We will now vote on the recommendations in the report, which you already agreed with the job. Thank you. Councillor Russell.
I will just abstain.
We know that Councillor Russell abstained. We will now move on to item 10, Council Tax Support Scheme. The report is on page 159-159 of your general pack. Can I give slightly that in order to be Catalan TV group? Councillor Hull, would you move the recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This paper proposes that the council continues with its current council tax support scheme for next year. Even standing still at that will cost the council an extra £1.8 million. Of the approximately 103,000 council tax accounts we have in Islington altogether, fewer than 4% are currently in arrears. Among those 103,000, there are 28,635 individuals who currently benefit from council tax support under this scheme. That's almost a third of all council tax payers. The council tax support scheme costs the council £21 million a year and is one of the most generous in the country. It offers up to 91.5% off a recipient's council tax bill, meaning that the average household on full council tax support in a Band D property only pays council tax at around £1.75 a week. Uniquely, nationally, it provides older people with a discount of up to £100, which costs the council a further £600,000 a year. It exempts two groups of people from council tax altogether, care leavers and foster carers, costing the council a further £300,000 combined. And unlike national benefits, it protects support for families with more than 2 children. And we do not charge court costs or use bailiffs in cases on council tax support. To fund some of these measures, the scheme reduces to an absolute minimum any discounts or exemptions for empty properties or second homes in the borough. In the past, Councillor Russell has suggested we increase the maximum level of support offered via our council tax support scheme from 91.5% to 100% universally. To do so will cost us an additional £1.4 million, which in the face of 70% Tory government cuts we simply don't have. Instead, we have chosen to prioritise targeted support for individuals by running the best funded resident support scheme in England. Through the resident support scheme, we spend £2 million a year supporting 4,500 individuals, buying basic household goods for residents like fridges and beds, for instance, as well as providing food vouchers and energy meter top-ups for neighbours in crisis. The resident support scheme has also 25,000 more built into it, which has never been needed to be used in full, to help those on council tax support who still struggle to pay their fraction of their council tax bill. And beyond our council tax support scheme and our resident support scheme, you can read in Appendix C to tonight's paper the vast range of other forms of financial support that we offer Islington residents from the cradle to the grave. Few, if any, councils are doing more to tackle poverty and reduce inequality than ours is here in Islington. Let's not let anybody suggest otherwise. I urge you to support this policy and this paper.
Thank you for your brevity, Councillor Burgess. Would you like to say anything?
Formally, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Burgess. Would you like to speak now, Councillor Russell?
I would. First of all, I absolutely support all the things that Andy has explained that we do with our council tax support scheme to support some of the most vulnerable residents and those most financially precarious residents in Islington. And I just want to put that down at the start. But I think there is one way in which our council tax support scheme could be even better. Now, at the moment, the number of people being summoned because this is people on the council tax reduction scheme, the ones who just pay 8.5% of their council tax, so the poorest residents. In 2017-18, the latest year which we've got figures for, 7,320 people were summoned. Now that is down from summoned 9,603 people. Now this is people who are on precarious incomes, who do not have the money to pay their council tax. And the cost that we spend on administrating all of that is about £1 million, I'm rounding figures for brevity, about £1 million a year. Now the cases of people in arrears are growing. In 2017-18, there were 1,914 cases of people in arrears. Some of them are because they got arrears going from multiple year to year to year, because these small amounts of money keep building up and they turn into bigger debts. Whereas in 2015-16, it was just 1,218. Currently, there are 2,322 open cases owing more than £1 million, and just 553 closed cases, which paid the council £142,000. Now, there is a lot of misery and stress on some of the poorest residents in our council. So while I absolutely support all the work that Andy is doing to try and make our council tax support scheme as fair as it possibly could be, I just hope, Andy, that you will meet me for a coffee so we can talk about what they've done in Islington, in Camden, and see if we can't match what they've done and make sure that some of the people who are accumulating debt in small increments, bit by bit by bit, and we all have residents who come to us who are struggling with debt, these debts are not going to be paid off. Is it really worth putting these people under so much pressure? So once again this year I will vote against the council tax support scheme.
Thank you, Councillor Russell. Any other councillors? Councillor Lukes, thank you.
Hello, thanks very much, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to draw your attention really to one line on page 160, and I'm doing that in my capacity as a migrant champion in the borough, because it's very easy to miss things sometimes with complex schemes. And I just want to point out that Islington has heard a dog whistle and responded appropriately, and that makes me very much a fervent supporter of the scheme as we have it. And that is about protecting families with more than 2 children. Generally, it has been the practice of the current government to trial benefit measures first on migrants, and then, when they manage to get away with it, to do it to everybody else. That's what's happened with welfare conditionality. That's what's happened with, for example, removing benefits from people now. And what has happened with larger families has been absolutely appalling. At the time when, for example, we had the bedroom tax, there was a huge amount of uproar about the effect of the bedroom tax. Rightly so, it's an appalling thing to do. At the same time, we had the benefit cap. And yet, a lot of the media that was on the benefit cap made it very clear that what was involved here was an attack particularly on migrant and minority families. Just as in the old days, certainly when I first, for example, came into housing in the 1980s, references to larger families generally, were people visualised them as essentially largely being Irish. Nowadays, they're visualised as being Bangladeshi, Somali and Roma families. And measures against larger families impact those particular communities. And I'm very proud of the fact that Islington has not chosen to do that and has chosen to make sure that our support scheme actually takes account of the needs of all children. We need to be careful here. We have children in the borough who have rights. We're a country that has signed up to the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. And what that means is you shouldn't have fewer rights to food on your table and to clothes that fit you, just because you're the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th child in a family. You shouldn't have fewer rights as a child because of your migration status, and you shouldn't have fewer rights as a child because of decisions made by your parents about when they have children and when they don't, and so on. I've known of a lot of injustices facing families with more than 2 children. Not all of those will be migrants. A friend of my daughter's was a blended family where a couple had come together with 2 children each and decided unwisely to have a further child, and then lost massively on benefits. But generally what has happened is these measures have been pushed, if you like, and publicised as being a way of getting at migrants. I'm very proud of the fact that the borough not only spotted that, but also took a brave decision to spend some money on putting its principles into action and making sure that larger families were not disadvantaged. Thank you.
Councillor Russell, you have the right
mixed up. Councillor Luke's, as ever, is spot on that so many of this government's policies have an anti-immigrant bent to them. In fact, we're actively looking now into whether the implementation of universal credit, and particularly the habitual residency test that's part of this, is having an anti-immigrant and perhaps even a racist effect. As for Councillor Russell, I did, I recall, invite you to come and see me the last time we discussed this, when we debated it back in September, to talk through the detail. I'm happy to extend that offer again tonight. But my primary criticism of your approach back in September is one that I would repeat now, which is that if you do have an alternative proposal or suggestion, you need to cost it and you need to fund it. And you've turned up again, 3 months later tonight, suggesting we do something that would cost us £1.1 million, with no suggestions as to how we should pay for it, and that's not good enough. As for comparisons with our neighbours, Camden have moved to 100% council tax support approach, but they only spend £240,000 a year on local welfare provision. Haringey, on the other hand, who are just talking about moving to 100% council tax support approach, from 80%, which is a lower level of support than the one we currently offer here in Islington, but are only doing so vis-à-vis families with children, which will leave thousands of other less well-off individuals who will continue to receive less support in Haringey than they do here in Islington. And Haringey have altogether closed their local welfare provision scheme altogether. So when you look at all the relevant facts and figures, you can see that the level of support we offer and the money we spend on it is basically the same as that in Camden now and the same as that proposed in Haringey for next year.
Thank you, Councillor. I will now vote on the recommendations in the report. All those in favour of the recommendations? Agree. All those against? Thank you. Any abstentions? We're now going to move to item 11, which is the quarterly monitoring report, which is on page 195, 195 on your agenda. Councillor Watts, would you like to move the recommendation?
Forward, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Burgess, would you like to second it? Are there any other councillors wish to speak? No. So we're now going to vote on the recommendations of the report. All those in favour of the recommendations? Agreed. The recommendations are carried. We're now going to move to page 197 of your agenda pack, which is the Constitution update. Councillor Gill, would you like to move the recommendations?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This changes the Constitution to ensure it reflects changes in legislation and council policy, and then make sure it remains fit for purpose. Can I just move it formally?
You may. So, Councillor, can you turn your microphone on? So, thank you. Would anybody like to second Councillor Hamitush? Formally. Would any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Gill, you have the right to reply. We'll now vote on the recommendations in Councillor Gill's report. All those in favour of the recommendations? The recommendations are carried. We're now going to move to item 13, the Chief Whip's report. A revised version of the report was circulated in the additional dispatch and is laid around the chamber. Councillor Gill, would you like to move the recommendations?
Formally again, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Hamitush, would you like to second? Merci bien. Would any other councillors like to speak? Councillor Gill, you have the right to reply. We'll now vote on the recommendations. All those in favour of the recommendations? The recommendations are carried. And I can move right to 14. The motions are set out on page 207 of your papers. The first motion this evening is motion 1, scrap universal credit. This motion is going to be moved by Councillor Gallagher and seconded by Councillor O'Halloran. Councillor Gallagher, would you like to move the motion, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I'm proud to move this motion here tonight, which shows that once again the Council is firmly on the side of local people. But Mr. Mayor, it is safe to say that I wish I did not have to be moving this motion or giving this speech, because simply put, it didn't have to be this way. When it was first announced, universal credit was a reasonable idea. Whilst we all know from better experience that you can never trust a Tory, the idea of merging 6 separate and bureaucratic social security processes and payments into one made sense. What does not make sense, however, is turning that idea into a way of taking away the support of no one society from least afford it. Universal credit's budget is $3 billion lower than the support it is replacing. And we know that the Tory government has earmarked cuts of more than 12 billion to the social security budget. Mr. Mayor, when the government is dressing up cuts as reform, it's only the least well-off in the communities that suffer. As our motion here tonight sets out, now that the full service rollout of universal credit has begun in Islington, we've got 70 people moving on to each day. The true impact of this disastrous and pernicious policy is being seen. The majority of households are £500 worse off per year on average. Rental rates are rated 8 times higher than those households that are not on universal credit. Referrals to the food bank have doubled. Awards of crisis support from the Council because of universal credit also doubled in October. Mr. Mayor, due to these terrible effects of universal credit, I think as a Council we have therefore only can reach one reasonable conclusion. Universal credit must be scrapped. A year ago we met in this chamber and called for the role of the universal credit to be paused and fixed. Sadly, 1 year on, and now with over 4,000 local residents feeling the impact of this pernicious policy, I'm proud that the Council here tonight is becoming the first Council in the country to call for universal credit to be scrapped. Mr. Mayor, when I met resident service or when I check my emails and casework on a daily basis, I'm increasingly being contacted to look for a breaking point for universal credit. The 5-week delay before payments start means that many people simply cannot make ends meet. The fact that universal credit is only available online means that it makes it harder for those less able to use the internet to access it. Worst of all, even when people do everything right, the government's cuts that are hardwired into this policy mean that the majority of residents will be worse off. As we've seen in so many ways, this Council is therefore as and manageable. As a report on the Council Tax Support Scheme we discussed earlier on sets out, the level of crisis support the Council provides is second to none. And I know all those members who supported that there to receive recognize that. We are determined to support local people affected by universal credit, but be that through the advice services that are offered, or from a maximisation team, or helping to prepare residents who will transition to universal credit in the near future. Last week, in recognition of the increasing number of applications from residents affected by universal credit to the Council Resident Support Scheme, we doubled the value of the award that can be made to help people with eating and food costs. Now, Mr. Mayor, just let's pause for that for a second. We doubled the value of awards that can be made to help people with eating and food costs. In 2018, in one of the richest countries in the world, and a city the millionaires often treat London like a playground, this Council is expecting to pay 7% cuts to our core government funding that's helping ever more local people who cannot afford to heat their home or feed their families. Mr. Mayor, if anyone needed a further reason to support this statement to this motion that universal credit must be scrapped, given its universal discredit, let that reason alone be it. I am proud to move this motion, but I am sad that I have to. It is time for this government to drop its pernicious, spiteful policy, and then to get out of the way and allow the Labour government to get out next step to the man not to be. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Lots of ministers have spoken out against universal credit. Even Tory Prime Minister John Major said poor people will be made poorer. But is his government listening? No. Mr. Mayor, I visited one of the local job centres this week, and although the team were positive and represented their organisation well, and I believe they are trying to do the best on the ground, there are still huge concerns. The lack of data kept. They could not say how many hardship payments have been made. No data on food banks, and we know from the council there are high rises of families and people using them, even relying on them now. They're not keeping equality impact assessments. They're having problems with the habitual residency test, and that affects people from abroad with employment support allowance. Going on universal credit, this also affects disabled people. But my big concern is the 12% of claimants falling through the gap. 88% of claimants were dealt with within 5 weeks between the 22nd of June and October, but 400 people were not. And this is a soft start, so they haven't seen anything in the numbers that are rising. The staff will not cope. This is dreadful. I've spoken to loads of residents and people and families. Some families tell me they're asking members of their own family for money to pay bills. One man told me he felt worthlessness. People are already getting into debt with rent, and this gives our private landlords easy opportunities to go to court for possessions. Families with young children will be driven into stress and poverty and have less to live on. Mental health will rise. If we don't stop this affecting the least well-off in our society, what are we here for? I cannot sit here and do nothing. We need a Labour government who is for the many and not the few. A Labour government who is like this hard-working council, who care about equality and fairness and want every young person to have a chance to grow up, to reach their full potential, not living in a life of poverty. Universal credit has been linked to the poll tax. Well, I couldn't tell what I thought of that and what that destroyed lives. We need to scrap this awful tax. Let's get rid of it and let's get rid of this Tory government. I second this motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Will any other councillors wish to speak? Sorry, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to share 3 real-life examples to illustrate what universal credit means on the ground here and now in Islington. So, the first case study, a man in his 50s looking for work, moved on to universal credit when he moved to Islington from Lambeth. Previously a full-time carer for his mother and became homeless when his mother moved into a nursing home. At this point, Lambeth Council found his private rented accommodation here in Islington. As soon as he moved, he immediately went into rent arrears due to the fact that he got an advance loan but didn't realise that he had to pay his rent out of that, and also has a penalty or sanction from the DWP to pay. His universal credit is also capped, so that doesn't cover his full costs. The only way he's been able to get by is through support from the council, who providing him with discretionary housing payments to help cover his shortfall in rent. He also uses food banks and churches where he can access a free meal. He hasn't been able to pay council tax, electricity or water rates, and he's not sure how he will. All the unskilled jobs that he's suitable for don't pay enough to meet his costs, so he'll be worse off. Second case study, a single mother with 2 young children moved on to universal credit when she moved jobs. She had a slight gap of a month where she was out of work looking for a job. She struggled with the new process of having to pay childcare costs herself out of her money up front. Previously with child tax credits it was paid direct. She was advised by the DWP to use an advance loan to pay the childcare and they would reimburse her. Due to a delay getting the receipts to the DWP, they've not finally made the UC payment and she's now fallen into arrears in the nursery and she risks losing her childcare. She's been advised that it could take another 14 days. She's getting by on a bare minimum. She's managing to pay rent but has had to seek help for gas and electricity through Schneider. She's also had to use food banks. A third real-life case study, a single lady suffering from health problems that unfortunately prevent her from working. When she transitioned to universal credit, she initially struggled to cope with the 5-week delay and was being pushed into arrears, racked up credit card debt and never caught up. Her universal credit benefit was capped, but our IMAX team just managed to get her exempted from the cap on disability grounds, so that's a good story. She's also had to access resident support scheme and food banks to get on. That's just 3 of hundreds of universal credit victims in our borough. And is it any surprise with this disgrace of the government behind it? We're now on the 5th Secretary of State for the DWP since UC was first introduced. Jeremy Corbyn, our local MP, was right to raise it again yesterday at Prime Minister's questions. One figure we haven't yet heard tonight is that the CAB locally has seen a 20% increase since June in people presenting with debt problems. And what happened in June? Full service of UC started to roll out here in Islington. We're right at the first council to call the policy out as universally discredited. It needs to be scrapped. Can they fix it? No, they can't. I urge you to support tonight's motion and the important and impressive ongoing work by Councillors Gallagher and O'Halloran.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Russell.
Thank you. I will be very brief, but I just want to thank Councillor like many of you, I have many people who come to my surgery with casework, they're on universal credit, and they are absolutely struggling with incrementally these debts increasing in a way that is just impossible. I mean, how do you advise someone when there is, they just, you know, they're being expected to wait for all those weeks before they're going to get any money, and then they're being told there's food banks. You know, that is no way for people to live. Absolutely, as a Green councillor, I'm right behind you, and I want to give you my full support.
Councillor Galley, you're right. Okay, we'll now move to a vote on the motion. All those in favour? Anyone against? No. Any abstentions? The motion is now carried. The next motion is